It's never a great sign when a game opens with a blue filter dream sequence.
What the hell?
Games are incapable of leaving the look and voice of a character alone for sequels these days. Case in point, Frank West has turned into a clone of GTA 5's Michael Townley, the ghost of previous better games. This game is hitting every single one of the tropes my creative writing teacher taught me to avoid. Opening dream sequences, dying at the end of the dream, being woken up by a phone call that gets the plot rolling, zombies, you name it. If it's 8:32 p.m. now, I can only assume Frank goes to bed around 5 p.m., since he was fast asleep and dreaming when Vic woke him up.
I was getting a medal from the president. When I went to go shake his hand, I tripped and kind of punched him. In the neck.
In the neck?
I tripped.
You sucker punched the president in the neck?
Vic is Frank's journalism student, so it's highly unlikely that she would be unaware of an event her professor caused a few years ago that would have resulted in a national news story.
You said we were gonna go play mini golf.
At 8:32 at night? In the cold? And with one of your students, no less?
There's this secret military
Oh,
base.
please, not another bullshit website conspiracy.
It's not bullshit. They're doing illegal scientific research.
If you can drive right up to a secret military base right outside town, it's not so secret then, is it?
Have I ever intimated that I wanted to return to Willamette?
Why do you live right next to Willamette then? You only traveled there to get the story in the first game. Moving just one town over from the place you have traumatic memories of was probably not the best idea if you wanted to move on.
It'll be fine. You need to relax.
Says the girl who wants to sneak into a secret government base where human experiments are taking place. That's the opening to a situation where everything will go wrong. A camera lens made in the USA? Lies.
It was hanging in your closet.
Which was locked.
Not very well.
How did you even get into his closet then? You called Frank up on his phone asking if he was ready, meaning I assume he got ready in his room and met you somewhere else.
Alright, well, I'm driving.
Because that really changes the dynamic. Secret military research base that is performing human experiments has an unguarded open front gate that you can walk right through, no cameras, and the security keycard is in the shed right next to the open gate.
You were here to watch and learn how a real investigative journalist does his shit in the field. With nothing but his notes, his camera, and his fucking balls. You got it?
That's sexist.
We have some work to do.
Crazy old mofo.
Shame on him for doing exactly what you brought him here to do. Yep, brought a gun with me. Just wanted to casually remind myself of that fact in case I forgot. Does it still count as a jump scare if I accidentally do it to myself? The game gives you the ability to take selfies with Frank's camera, and I was unaware of that until I entered this dark room and turned on the night vision. So I think sending it with a star wipe is justified for providing me with a means of jump scaring myself. Whenever a floor breaks like this in order to spill the main character right into the lap of the plot, I pinch my balls really hard. The pain is the only thing that reminds me that I'm still alive, and that I'm right for thinking it's incredibly lazy that everyone still does this in video games. In case you were unaware, I'm conditioned by pain response.
Too dark. Turn on your night vision filter.
My what now?
Oh, I added a bunch of new filters to your camera.
You cannot add a night vision filter to a DSLR lens. A night vision filter isn't even a thing. A filter by its very nature reduces the amount of light entering a lens, whereas night vision amplifies available light, and requires special hardware to do it. You can't screw one on the end of a lens like it's an ND filter.
Try your spectrum analyzer.
And you most certainly can't add a spectrum analyzer to a camera lens either. It's amazing how in entertainment everyone always finds the exact moment they need in security camera footage as soon as they start watching, instead of having to fast forward through potentially days of people just walking up and down hallways and the occasional janitor mopping the floor. This security camera footage managed to go from common gas station quality to HD and switch to a more cinematic angle. Stick to security camera visuals and angles if you want to show something that was recorded by security cameras.
We're not improving the treatment, we're perfecting it.
Those are the exact same thing, but I will allow you to continue believing they are different.
This is the type of project that requires a lifetime of research.
So it's never going to be finished then. I hope you like doing photo investigations, because this game throws one at you every mission. Instead of exposing this place for illegal zombie research, Vic shows off some impressive liberal arts competence by deciding to do things their own way by shooting one zombie in the head to put it down, which results in putting the base on alert and nearly getting the two of them killed. I'm not sure how shooting that one zombie helped change things for the better more than exposing this place would have done, but she seemed very proud of it.
You were just gonna leave her? Just use her?
We need to get out of here. Do you understand me?
For your pictures?
I'm pissed off about basic journalism ethics. You run the opposite direction away from me for some reason while I run past the person who just spotted us. I'm going to have to send this at least once, so I might as well send the first instance of it. I don't care how fun the idea of a grenade hammer is. In the back of my mind, a voice is telling me that you would just kill yourself trying to use it. The base is on high alert now and there is still no one outside. Vic even drives away like it's no big issue. I find it hard to believe that after the entire town of Willamette was killed by zombies in the first Dead Rising, that it would repopulate fast enough to open the world's largest mall. Most people would have a few reservations about moving to an area where a zombie outbreak occurred. Also, who the hell builds a mall these days? So a new zombie outbreak occurs in the mall in Willamette during Black Friday, because just sitting a zombie story in a mall isn't enough to drive home the classic theme of American consumerism. It's like the developers decided to flip George Romero the bird because they obviously knew how to pull off this whole subtlety thing way better. Frank went into hiding and changed his name after being framed by the Pentagon even though he had photo evidence of the government conducting zombie experimentation outside Willamette.
It's happening again in Willamette.
What is?
An outbreak.
I didn't see anything on the news. How long has it been going on?
Going on 6 weeks now.
No organization is resourceful enough to cover up an entire town being overrun by zombies. especially a town that was previously overrun by zombies. We live in an age of cell phone cameras. This story would have gotten out before you could cover it up, and you're stupid for believing that I'm stupid enough to buy this.
It's a long time to silence an entire town.
Not for them.
Who?
The Pentagon.
You could have just said the Pentagon rather than make him ask. I have never actually seen anyone drink out of a whiskey flask in real life. I'm convinced it's just a convenient prop to show a character who has issues.
All that pales in comparison to the mystery of why you, Frank West, are teaching a goddamn night class instead of being 2 steps ahead of me on this.
Really? Because he also didn't bother getting involved in the last 2 major zombie outbreaks in Dead Rising 2 and 3.
Do you know how many outbreaks I've been part of? How many I've covered? And what thanks have I gotten?
Just the one that I'm aware of.
You come with me to Willamette. We expose this bullshit. And you do it right this time.
Or he could just give you the photos he has on his camera that he took at the base, and that would probably do it. Brad's reasoning for getting Frank involved is pretty weak. Any photographer can actually do this job.
This is one of your students, isn't it?
Ooh.
And there you have the only legitimately funny joke in the game. Sure, it's a joke I've seen in other places, but it got a chuckle out of me regardless. Just the 2 of us. That's all we need to expose massive government corruption. You probably should have figured the bad guys would shoot your chopper down if you just flew it right over the town. This is a government cover-up after all. Both of them survive a terrible helicopter crash that threw them from the wreckage when it crashed into the mall. Frank's camera doesn't even break.
Zombification used to take days. What the hell was that?
No, it didn't. The psychopaths, the funnest part of the last 3 games, have been completely neutered. Most of them are optional, and they all play out the exact same way. Fight a few guys dressed in a theme, then the psychopath appears and fights just like the guys you just killed, except he has more health and does more damage. If there were already other reporters in this town like Darcy, then the fact that this town is overrun with zombies should already be well known.
Is this Frank West? Darcy gave me your number.
Frank never gave Darcy his number. Plus, this is a radio, so there's no number to give out. Somehow combining these 2 vehicles makes a military Humvee smaller and more vulnerable. I think you were better off driving the Hummer as it was.
You sound totally different on the radio.
Oh, yeah, that's my character.
Character?
Yeah, I realize no one listens to me unless I'm yelling all the time.
Paula would be good at Let's Playing. There are too many investigation scenes. This plague masquerading as a fun gameplay mechanic needs to stop, and damn Batman Arkham Asylum for creating it.
What the hell are you guys after? Huh. Guess I know where I'm headed next.
Yeah, that conveniently keeps happening. You'd still be at the mall if the universe hadn't conspired to keep you moving in the right direction. Obscurus knew that Frank broke into their base months ago, but somehow knew nothing about Vic, and now she's helping them, or at least pretending to so she can get the scoop on them. To be honest, I'm not really sure what she's doing or how this situation ever developed, and I don't believe I'm supposed to think about the plot of this game as much as I am.
I know where they're gonna hit you next. I know how many are going. I know the name of the leader. I know where they hide their food. With that kind of information, it could prevent a lot of unnecessary death.
For an activist journalist who wants to bring down Obscurus, Vic is really doing them a solid by screwing over the surviving townspeople for an interview.
What do you want? 30 minutes, off the record.
Off the record means you can't print anything she says, and I doubt she would reveal anything incriminating even in an off-the-record interview.
I found this civilian messing around with one of our computers.
Darcy.
That guy who, him. Funny how they threatened to kill Darcy for sneaking around and trying to get the story, but reward Vic for the same exact thing.
Mr. West, it's a shame you're not proving as useful as your friend.
I knew that you were here all along. Somehow. She just kind of blurts this out without ever having noticed Frank or Frank doing anything to reveal himself. Hell, I'm not even sure how she knew Frank was in Willamette, or why she wants to kill him for trying to report on the story when she doesn't mind Vic reporting on it. And we're all going to drive off and just leave one dude to kill you even though we have an army. What kind of rugged group of survivors would ever bother keeping sleeping darts on hand during a zombie outbreak? Hello, I'm going to try to be a Walking Dead character. And fail miserably at it.
What?
What in the hell you doing here, boy?
What the hell are you talking about? What am I doing here? These pig-smelling idiots drugged and dragged me here. That's what I'm doing here.
Frank's got a point. This interrogation is off to a bad start. You could at least start by asking his name.
Whoa, wait. Vic? Was Vic here?
You know she was. You saw her selling them out to Obscurus.
We ain't nothing but good, honest people here. Before this, I was a rancher. Plumber, auction caller, a butcher. Now we're soldiers. Frank, world ain't the same place.
I continue to be surprised over how everyone was taken by surprise by a zombie outbreak in a world where that happens almost as much as a seasonal flu.
The only one who might know her way into that dam is my engineer Hammond. She was leading that raid. The one that your little buddy sold us upriver on.
We can't possibly send any of our own men up to rescue our people from the ambush, so let's send the reporter we don't know and have every reason not to trust.
So you can handle yourself.
Yeah, I covered some wars.
This game repeats its own meme. This would be like the Elder Scrolls ironically bringing back the arrow to the knee meme in the next game. And even though I'm using that as an example of it being preposterous, don't hold it against me if Bethesda does just that in a few years, because I don't actually put it past them. Frank really needs to learn how to hide better. That's twice now someone from Obscurus just knew he was there. I'm just gonna stand here and watch as you slowly strap yourself into one of our exosuits rather than killing you. Someone is a big fan of the All You Need Is Kill manga and its Hollywood movie adaptation Edge of Tomorrow, since the exosuit uses the Hollywood-style power suit combined with the axe from the manga.
Can't see you, but you sure sound pissed.
Too bad you don't have a night vision mode on your camera that would allow you to see what Calder looks like.
I didn't start the outbreak, Mr. West. We were here long before that. Years before. Do you remember a certain scientist by the name of...
Radio cuts out at the last second before something important is revealed, cliché.
What are you doing? Because I'm having a hard time seeing it.
I am trying to figure out who these soldiers are working for, how the outbreak began, and what these assholes did.
You sold out Hammond and her people. They almost got killed. Do you know that? Are you aware of that?
The commander issued a no-kill order, and then Tom's people attacked first.
My head hurts just trying to parse this. Vic wants nothing more than to expose Obscurus and discover the truth of the outbreak, yet trusts their commander completely and blames the town survivors for their earlier firefight. She knows Obscurus is evil, but seems to think their commander is an okay person and is willing to go to bat for her.
Our research at Obscurus, it's all based on a project that was abandoned 15 years ago.
15 years? That's back to the original outbreak.
Yes, this project was performed at a secret laboratory hidden somewhere here in Willamette.
I'm pretty sure they are retconning some of the events of the first game and how the outbreak started, but I don't care enough to check.
Calder. I don't know what it is. Big, that's for sure.
Well, you just spoiled what it is during the chapter recap, after you spent the entire chapter only showing shadowy glimpses of it and talking about what a mystery he is. Turns out Calder is a smart zombie wearing an exosuit. I've never seen a game spoil its own plot twist in this fashion before. This helmet camera footage from Obscurus' raid on Dr. Barnaby's lab from before the outbreak starts out as a POV shot from Calder. Then after establishing that, switches to third-person cinematic shots. Why does every game think it can get away with this? Why was Calder even wearing an exosuit during a raid on an empty lab? His men sure weren't. Loose nut of foreboding. This data that Calder downloaded into the drive on his arm will become Frank's obsession, since it contains data on Dr. Barnaby's old experiments and evidence that links it to the government. Good thing the impossible camera angles let Frank see Calder start the download.
A zombie is just a man who never tires, never sickens, never ages. Indeed, zombies are the key to human immortality.
That's some good logical fallacy. Dr. Barnaby's goal for creating zombies in the first game was something profoundly stupid about increasing beef production. This game retcons his research so that he was trying to make humans immortal by turning them into smart zombies. Shooting in a cloud of parasites is one of the worst ways to combat that particular threat. Also, why the hell wouldn't these guys be equipped with suits to protect them from infection? They raided this place because Barnaby created zombies in the past and they wanted his information. A little precaution would have went a long way. You had forever to run from that cloud of parasites. You sorta deserve this. Don't try to fool me by cutting to static from this camera angle. This footage was originally in first person from Calder's point of view, and he's inside the chamber that turned him into a smart zombie, while this shot is from outside it.
Partly zombieism into some kind of immortality treatment. Trying to make a mint off a bunch of aging millionaires.
That was the plan, but I guess immortality isn't as profitable as cheap labor.
Human history is filled with proverbs, philosophy, poems, and stories about the rich wanting to stay rich and never die and going to great lengths to achieve that goal. So I think they might be just a bit more interested in immortality than cheap labor.
Pacify, domesticate, and train.
You plan to make soldiers, aren't you? You're gonna make some kind of undead army.
Are you out of your mind? You think anyone's gonna set these things loose with a gun? No. No, the plan was coffee farmers.
Really? Oh, well, there is a lot of money in coffee.
Or manufacturing, or meat packing, or fucking fruit.
First, that's pretty much the ending of Shaun of the Dead. Second, why would anyone believe the public would ever allow zombies as slave labor? You still have to infect living people to get zombies, and I don't think you'll find too many volunteers. And no one wants food that was handled by a zombie. There are tons of third world workers out there who will do cheap labor.
Peanuts. Peanuts are hard to harvest, just a thought.
It's been a while since I played the original Dead Rising, so maybe I've forgotten, but was Frank West ever this dumb in that game? Because I don't remember him playing anything more than a straight man in a zombie apocalypse scenario, which actually made the comedy in that game work. Exosuit or not, that would still blow Calder's arm off.
Like a sapling growing out of cinders, we built our new community on the ruins of the old world.
I'm not sure who Tom is giving this speech to. The only people at the cement factory are him, Hammond, and a few of his men, yet he's preaching like he has an audience.
You are hereby sentenced to a beheading.
I would care more about this scene if this weren't only the second time I've seen Tom. Normally when the bullets land near the hero's feet, it's because the bad guys missed. This guy intentionally chose to collapse the boards under Frank instead of aiming center mass on a non-moving target. The boss fights in this game suck. Is that sin not witty enough for one of these videos? Well, now you know how a Dead Rising fan might feel after playing this game.
Fist bump. Seriously, come on.
Hammond is kind of a dick for leaving Frank hanging. He did save her from Tom.
I need to blow a hole in the sewers.
Actually, you don't, because later we find out there's a path leading from Calder's lair in the sewers to the mall for some reason. Frank actually has to scan the door hinge before he figures out to put the explosives there to blow it off. It's either the hinge or the lock, buddy. Both will do the trick.
Where then goes the man? He stays, lives, kills, burns, poisons the sea, bears down the sky.
Apparently turning into a smart zombie makes you think deeply about the folly of man and his place in the world.
These hands took as men. But now... No. We give back.
Only now, months after he downloaded that drive and has been wearing it ever since, does Calder decide to destroy it. This entire place just starts exploding because Calder threw one barrel on the ground. This is a sewer. What's here to explode?
The storage directory contains all my research into human immortality. It also contains all correspondence with the Pentagon. I have various documentation, all confirming the involvement of the Secretary of Defense, various generals, aides, and even the...
Barnaby really spelled out all the incriminating evidence he had. Just one thing though. This was recorded over a decade ago, so all of those cabinet members are likely no longer in power. What the hell are you even doing down here? You had no idea about the drive Calder had and no idea that Frank was coming here for it.
You are part of the chain, Frank West.
How do you even know Frank's name? This is your first time meeting him.
Must break the chain.
How's destroying the camera and evidence going to help you break the chain, as you say? Wouldn't exposing the corruption that led to you help break that chain? I'm pretty sure whatever this chain is, destroying that evidence helps it. Also, this chain nonsense is just vague enough to make you think the developers were trying to make a point with this. I don't think even they knew what Calder was going on about.
Is he regenerating? Can he regenerate?
I don't care anymore, game. You don't need to explain anything to me. Just do whatever you want until the end. I'm at the point where I just give this game a gold star because it didn't need the glue it used to make its macaroni drawing.
Nothing will take the man. The chain remains.
Leave the undead philosophical enemies to Hideo Kojima from now on, please. Brad has done nothing since the beginning of the game. In fact, I completely forgot about him until just now.
I'm really sorry about that.
Only now, after my attempt at screwing you over failed, am I sorry.
What is that?
An SD card? From your camera?
I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that Frank would recognize an SD card from his own camera that contained all of the evidence he collected.
You pulled it?
No, idiot. While she was unconscious and you were carrying her here, she somehow found your camera that Calder destroyed and she salvaged the card.
I want the story. My words, your pictures.
Isn't this what they should have done from the start? Frank is just a photojournalist after all. He was always going to need someone to write the story for him. Frank should not be able to hold on to the chopper with that many zombies clinging to him. Capcom continues to be Capcom by making you buy DLC to see the true ending, because they pretend to kill Frank only to sell you DLC later that contains the final chapter that explains what happened. Here's your gold star, you cute little game you.
I've covered wars, you know.